All right, today we're going to break down a martial art that is completely different. It's not about ancient traditions, it's not about scoring points. This is Tetsuryoku-Ryu, and it's a modern combat system built for one reason and one reason only: to end a real-world fight fast. Let's get into it.
And this quote, this right here, says it all. This is the core idea. It's not about a long, drawn-out match where athletes trade techniques. No, it's about a sudden, overwhelming, and decisive end. This one single thought shapes the entire system and why it even exists.
So let's actually unpack what that means. Section 1, chess versus a shotgun. We're going to explore this foundational anti-sport idea and what it looks like in the real world.
So what even is this thing? Well, the first thing you have to understand is that it's new. This isn't some ancient art passed down for centuries. It was engineered, put together in 2025. You can almost think of it as a greatest hits of lethality. It takes the raw power from Kyokushin karate, the joint locks from Aikido, and the balance breaking from Judo, and it fuses them all together to solve a very specific, very nasty problem.
And there it is, the mission statement, plain and simple. Disrupt, dominate, done. It's a three-word cycle built for pure speed and finality. You know, the entire system is basically reverse engineered from that one single goal. How do you shut an attacker down and get out of there in less than 5 seconds?
And this table really explains the why. See, the system argues that sport fighting, MMA, operates on a set of rules that can get you killed on the street. For example, pulling guard in BJJ is a brilliant tactic on the mats. But on concrete, with the attacker's friend maybe running up, the system calls that a grave. That context is absolutely everything.
Okay, let's move on to the core mechanic. This is how it all works. Section 2 is all about the physics of the system, what they call the 45-degree cheat code. And it all comes down to this one number, 45 degrees. This is the single most important piece of the puzzle. Every single thing they do, every entry, every block, every strike, is built around this specific angle. It's like the geometric key that unlocks the entire system.
So what's the magic behind that number? It's a principle from Judo called kuzushi, which just means unbalancing. And here's the crucial idea. You stop fighting the person's strength and you start fighting their physics. Instead of trading punches head-on, you attack their balance where their structure is weakest. If you can make them stumble, even just for a second, the fight's pretty much over.
And this is the engine that drives it. They call it the Tetsuryoku Disrupt. It's a simple 4-step process. First, you bait them. You invite them to commit to an attack. The moment they do, step 2, you're not there anymore. You've stepped to that 45-degree angle. Step 3, you grab a handle, their shoulder, head, hip. And finally, step 4, a quick push or pull, and their whole structure just collapses.
So why is this so effective? Well, according to the system, it's about hitting 3 major human glitches. First, biomechanics. You're pushing on the body where it's structurally weakest. Second, you're messing with their vision. By stepping into their periphery, you wreck their depth perception. And third, you enter what they call the dead zone, a spot where you can hit them, but their main weapons can't really get to you.
Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now let's look at the actual tools. Section 3, we're going to break down the stance and the strikes they use to make all this happen.
This right here is the iron guard, and you'll notice right away it's not a light, bouncy boxing stance. No, it's forward-weighted, it's aggressive, and it's designed to drive into somebody. And look at the elbows, tucked in super tight to the body. That creates a solid wedge, a frame that's incredibly hard to break down or take down. And the striking, it's almost all hands. The logic here is pretty simple. When you throw a high kick, you're on one leg. Your base is compromised. In this system, that is a huge liability. So the hands do the damage, while the legs are mostly used to jam an opponent's movement or to sweep them after their balance is already gone. Okay, so how do you get good at this? How does it become second nature? Section 4 covers the training, and it's just as unique as the art itself. The way you progress is very structured. You start with the absolute basics, of course, but what's really key is how early they focus on angle mastery. Before you learn a bunch of fancy techniques, you have to drill that 45-degree movement until it is absolutely automatic, until it's just how you move. Now this is where the training gets really practical. Forget abstract traditional forms. The katas in this system are direct simulations of nightmare scenarios you might actually face. Take the bar exit, for example. You're dealing with 2 attackers. The solution isn't to fight them both, it's to pivot and use the first guy's own momentum to slam him into his buddy, creating a human shield. It's all about hardwiring these brutal, practical answers to real problems. So this all brings us to the million-dollar question.
We know it's designed for the street, but could an anti-sports system like this actually work inside the UFC's octagon?
I mean, that's the ultimate test for any modern system, isn't it? The source material actually spends a lot of time on this, trying to figure out how these principles would hold up in MMA, where the rules, the environment, everything is different. Now, the system itself makes some pretty bold claims. It says that, against a boxer, you just use that 45-degree pivot to get around their jab. Against a wrestler's takedown, you don't sprawl back. You frame and pivot to spin them right past you, exposing their back. The goal is always the same. Don't play their game, completely disrupt it.
But, and this is really important, it's also brutally honest about its own weaknesses. The system's creators admit it's very vulnerable to a skilled kicker who can keep you at a distance. They also say it has a high technical ceiling, meaning if your angle is off by just a little bit, the whole thing can fail spectacularly. And the biggest one, if a high-level grappler gets you to the ground, you are now in their world. This is not a silver bullet.
And that really brings us to the big idea at the heart of all this. Tetsuryoku-Ryu challenges that classic idea of a martial art as something ancient and inherited. Instead, it's presented as a modern tool, engineered from data to solve a problem. Which leaves us with a fascinating question, doesn't it? Is this a glimpse into the future of how combat systems are going to be designed?